Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the meeting is called to order. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, we shall now continue our deliberations under Agenda Item 9A, Policy Issues for the Asia-Pacific Region, Inclusive and Sustainable Economic and Social Development in Asia and the Pacific through Regional Cooperation and Integration. At this time, we shall hear statements from delegations wishing to speak on this agenda item. I would like to urge speakers to help maintain the discipline of the 5-minute time allocation so that all delegations may have enough time to deliver their statements. I would like to note that in case delegations have longer statements, they may deliver a summary while the full text can be shared through the Commission website. Excellencies, the first speaker on my list this afternoon is His Excellency Mr. Muhammad Abdul Manan, Minister of States, Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Planning of Bangladesh. Excellency, you have the floor.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. Madam Executive Secretary, Honorable Ministers, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all. The delegation of Bangladesh extended its warmest felicitation to the Chair on his elections to this high position. Bangladesh delegation offers sincere words of appreciation to Madam Executive Secretary of ESCAP and her team for their diligence in organizing this important event. The Royal Thai government likewise deserves our warmest felicitation for the generous hospitality and friendship offered to us. Ladies and gentlemen, Bangladesh has been experiencing steady economic growth for the last 2 decades in spite of challenges beyond our control. The country has reached a development trajectory, reducing poverty along the way with social cohesion and progression that has contributed to reducing our dependence on foreign aid. We have made a remarkable progress in mobilizing domestic resources, and share of total revenue of the government in GDP increased from 9.3% in 5 and 6 to 12.1% now. The nation took 38 years to reach $100 billion GDP, but only 6 years to get into the $200 billion GDP club. Bangladesh has doubled its per capita income in 20 years from 1989 to 2009, but it took only 7 years to double it again by 2015. As a result, in 2015, Bangladesh was elevated to lower middle income category by the World Bank. Indices concerning economic vulnerability, the human development are also signaling an imminent graduation from least developed status to higher status. Mr. Chairman, Bangladesh is one of the champions of attaining MDGs. It has reduced poverty to 22.3% now from around 83% in the early 70s when we got our independence. Literacy rate has increased to 65% from 37% in the early 90s. Moreover, gender parity has been achieved at both the primary and secondary level of education. Significant progress is evident in reducing under 5 child mortality, infant mortality, and in reducing maternal mortality rate. Mr. Chairman, Bangladesh has also achieved significant progress in different areas, including in infrastructure, agriculture, power, and ICT. As many as 5,000 digital centers have been established in the lowest tier of the local government to ensure easy and almost free access to ICT to millions of our underprivileged people. Mr. Chairman, let me highlight some of the challenges that hinder our development now. As I mentioned earlier, we have set an ambitious target to become an upper middle income country by 2021 and a developed country by 2041. A smooth and steady flow of development assistance from our valued development partners are still crucial to maintain the current rate of development and GDP growth. Trade and poverty reduction are three inextricably intertwined issues of all, including for us in Bangladesh. We launched comprehensive trade reforms in the early 70s, in the early 1990s. These included substantial reduction of tariffs, liberalization of import policy, including removal of quantitative restrictions. Mr. Chairman, we are forging strong, effective global and regional partnership. Developing countries like Bangladesh would face huge challenges in implementing the Sustainable Development Goals. ESCAP gives us an opportunity of sharing our lessons and setting our future pathway to work hand in hand with the international community and other development partners. Having said this, I wish a success of 73rd session of the ESCAP and thank everyone for the kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your statement. I would like now to invite His Excellency Mr. Sergei Manasirian, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary to China from Armenia. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, distinguished delegates, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by expressing my sincere gratitude to the Royal Thai government and ESCAP for hosting and organizing this session. I have the honor and the privilege to say one more time from this distinguished podium that Armenia deems the cooperation with ESCAP is one of very important directions within the framework of regional cooperation. The government of the Republic of Armenia attaches utmost attention to the implementation of the main objectives of the VENA Action Program for landlocked developing countries for the decade 2040-2024. As a landlocked country, Armenia has the same needs as other LLDCs: the development of communications, commerce and trade promotion, and poverty eradication for improvement of the social and economic situation in the country. There are also some specific aspects due to the country's geopolitical position and complicated regional situation, namely close borders with two out of 4 neighboring countries. At the same time, the country is sparing no efforts to overcome the challenges it's facing, while actively involving itself into international, regional, and sub-regional integration processes. The current policy of the Armenian government is aimed at bypassing the obstacles and limitations and increasing country's limited internal market. Through Armenia's membership in Eurasian Economic Union, our partners may have a custom-free access to more than 180 million consumers. The new comprehensive and expanded partnership agreement opens new opportunities for the economic activities, not only for Armenian, but also European business community. Armenia also enjoys benefit from the GSP Plus regime with EU, which allows to export more than 6.4 thousand Armenian products to Europe on preferential terms. Due to the development of productive cooperation in different directions, Armenia may serve as a bridge between EU and other economic blocs, the European Union, countries associated with it, also with Iran and countries of Near East. Today, our geopolitical location and political and economic arrangement with partners nations enable Armenians easy access and trade with markets of more than 300 million consumers, where many Armenian goods and services have already established brand value. A common border and visa-free regime with the Islamic Republic of Iran opened up a market of 80 million consumers. Historically friendly relations with Georgia give us access to the Black Sea ports and as well as safeguard Armenia's trade turnover with Russian Federation, other EU countries and the European Union. The forthcoming opening of the major infrastructure projects such as North-South Highway Corridor will make Armenia the shortest transit route connecting Persian Gulf to the Black Sea ports. The energy sector of Armenia is currently one of the fully operational and cost-effective branches of the country's economy. Armenia not only fully covers its energy demands in the internal market, but also exports electricity to Georgia, as well as successfully performs an electricity exchange with Iran on mutually beneficial basis. The shares of power generation from nuclear, thermal, and renewable capacities are almost equal. Two gas pipelines from Russia and Iran provide diversification to the system. A well-functioning institutional structure as well as transmission and distribution network provides stable energy supply and services extended to all population and sectors of economy. Armenia has significant renewable energy resources, among which had to be noted hydro, wind, solar, and geothermal energy resources, and development of the renewable energy is one of the principles of energy sector development. Within the framework of Eurasian Economic Union is envisaged to create common power market in 2090. At the same time, as a result of the agreement reached between the Republic of Armenia and Islamic Republic of Iran, various transactions in gas and electricity exchange are carried out. After the construction of new power transmission line, Armenia-Iran, which is scheduled in 2080, the exchange of electricity between the two countries will rapidly increase. Taking into consideration the fact that Armenia has experience working in the energy sector with our neighbor countries, Russia, Iran, and Georgia, which is a major advantage in the region. In the parallel with the construction of the third power transmission line, Armenia-Georgia and Armenia-Iran, regional energy projects of Armenia will enter into new higher level. Dear Mr. Chairman, in conclusion, I would like to congratulate all of us on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of establishment of UN ESCAP and express my gratitude for a very productive work and friendly atmosphere. Thank you very much.
Excellency, thank you for your statement. Now I would like to invite our next speaker, His Excellency Mr. Turmuk Haleg, Tax Bilim, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary and Permanent Representative to ESCAP of Mongolia. Sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Madam Executive Secretary, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, at the outset, allow me to join the previous speakers in extending our sincere congratulations to you, Mr. Chairman, on your unanimous election as Chairman of the 73rd session of the Commission. I am confident that under your able leadership, the 73rd session will be led to a successful conclusion. I would also like to take this opportunity to express our sincere gratitude to ESCAP, to people and government of Thailand for excellent arrangements made for this session. Mr. Chairman, it is timely and appropriate that the 73rd session of the ESCAP is being held under the theme of the regional cooperation for sustainable energy. We share a view that ensuring energy supply through regional cooperation holds an important key in improving the quality of life, strengthening economies, and achieving equality among nations, which would eventually lead to successful implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. I would like to take this opportunity to express our sincere gratitude to the ESCAP for establishing the Committee on Energy within the framework of ESCAP. Mr. Chairman, the government of Mongolia's main priorities lie in ensuring the macroeconomic stability, diversifying the structure of the national economy, reducing vulnerability from commodity price fluctuations, and generating economic resilience. The Parliament of Mongolia adopted the law on development policy and planning in 2015 and Mongolia's Sustainable Development Vision 2030 in 2016, which provided legal framework for coordination of sectoral and local development policies toward a more inclusive and enabling environment for sustainable development and equal opportunities for all of its citizens. By 2030, the development vision envisages to better ensure the economic and social development through eradication of poverty in all its forms, sustaining an annual economic growth at least at 6.6%, and preserving the ecological balance and green development while building strong and transparent governance systems. My government places a particular importance to formulating a medium-term plan on implementing the Sustainable Development Vision through ensuring national policy coherence. The ongoing work on the preparation of this plan includes identifying targets and indicators for SDGs and Mongolia's 2030 Sustainable Development Vision until 2021, identifying clear priority sectors and activities, designing medium-term development models to define impacts, and determining actions and activities for cross-sectoral coordination in accordance with the targets and indicators. Mr. Chairman, Asia and the Pacific region is the region known for its fastest growth and also serves as an anchor of the stability in the world. Nevertheless, each country from its own specifics has different approaches and modalities for strengthening the regional cooperation and improving their competitiveness and connectivity. As for my country, we have been working with our two neighboring countries by launching a new format of trilateral cooperation. The presidents of Mongolia, China, and Russia approved the program on establishment of the economic corridor through Mongolia, China, and Russia as a roadmap of trilateral cooperation in June 2016. The program sets the mechanism and priority projects of the corridor. The government of Mongolia has decided to converge its development road program with the Belt and Road Initiative, which is focused on establishing the tripartite economic corridor. Only a few days ago, we have signed with the government of China the memorandum of understanding between our two countries on this issue, which was the first formal step to establish a legal framework for the economic corridor. Moreover, Mongolia signed with Japan the Economic Partnership Agreement in 2015 to increase the bilateral trade volume, investments, exchange of products and services, as well as people-to-people connectivity. The agreement between Mongolia and Japan has made a definite contribution to our efforts to become more integrated in the regional economy. Mr. Chairman, allow me to share with you what Mongolia has been doing in implementing the Sustainable Development Goal 7. Mongolia has an ambitious goal to produce 30% of its energy demand from renewable resources by 2030. In June 2015, the Parliament adopted the State Policy on Energy for 2015 to 2030, a policy document that has set out strategic goals and priority areas of the energy sector development. Currently, Mongolia's total electricity production capacity is 1,130 megawatt. Thermal and diesel power plants produce 77% of total electricity production, and about 20% of total electricity is imported from foreign countries. Mongolia's first wind farm has started its operation with the private investment in 2013, and the first solar power plant has commenced its operation from January 2017. The wind farm has a capacity to offset 180,000 tons of CO2 emissions, to save 1.6 million tons of fresh water, and to reduce coal usage by 122,000 tons annually. And the solar power plant is expected to provide clean energy to 20,000 households, to produce 15.2 million kilowatt per hour electricity annually, and to cut CO2 emissions by 14.7 tons. Mr. Chairman, Mongolia joined the ESCAP family 56 years ago. In this connection, allow me to express my sincere gratitude to the Commission for supporting Mongolia's transition to market economy from its very beginning, and for collaborating to resolve the social and economic challenges. We appreciate the Commission's continued efforts to ensure sustainable development in Asia and the Pacific region by providing the technical cooperation to developing countries and supporting new initiatives aimed at reducing the poverty and overcome other social and economic challenges the region is facing. My delegation fully supports the initiatives and strategy introduced by the Commission to strengthen the regional cooperation in supporting an inclusive, sustainable economic and social development in Asia and the Pacific region. We fully agree that intergovernmental organizations such as ESCAP can play a vital role in bringing together governments of its member states and other stakeholders to discuss and implement actions to overcome key challenges expressed by heads of delegations during this session. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, I wish to reiterate my delegation's firm belief that under your able stewardship, the session will make a great impetus on our common efforts toward achieving economic and social objectives and the broader development agenda of the region. I thank you.
Excellency, thank you for your statement. Our next speaker is Mr. Hideo Fukushima, Minister, Permanent Representative to ESCAP of Japan. Sir,
Thank you very much.
You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chairman. And distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. And let me first express my deep gratitude to ESCAP for providing me this precious opportunity to make Japan's case on this very important issue of energy. Energy access is the basis for development of industries and employment opportunities, further reduction of poverty, as well as expansion of medical and educational opportunities. It is indeed a key factor for each country in achieving construction of a sustainable society. That is why energy is positioned as goal 7 in the Sustainable Development Goals. Mr. Chairman, while improving energy access is an urgent issue, the current circumstances surrounding energy access are by no means simple. In the Asia-Pacific region, we are aware of many challenges. Energy supplies are not catching up with significant increase in energy demand stemming from economic development. There are inefficient power infrastructures that cause cost increases and environmental pollution. On the other hand, need for measures against climate change is also imminent, as agreed upon in the Paris Agreement last November. As such, all countries, including energy-producing countries, consuming countries, developed countries, or developing countries, should now be able to correctly respond to multiple requirements, such as stable supply, economic efficiency, environmental sustainability, and safety. Under such circumstances, Japan too, following the Great East Japan earthquake 6 years ago, is facing the urgent task of securing a stable and inexpensive energy supply while introducing renewable energy, searching for the future direction that energy access should take. Also, in each country, numerous discussions on energy access issues are being held. There's no panacea energy source that simultaneously satisfies all of these multiple requirements. Therefore, as per unique circumstances of each country, promotion of nuclear power and the clean use of fossil fuels, including coal, in addition to energy conservation, will contribute to improving global energy access. Mr. Chairman, based on such idea, Japan has been providing development cooperation and support for developing countries in the region to improve energy access. In doing so, emphasis is placed on quality of assistance rather than quantity. High quality equipment and specialized personnel are essential in promotion of renewable energy and energy conservation, as well as clean utilization of energy. That is the reason why Japan attaches importance to the notion of a quality infrastructure investment conducted in an open and fair manner. It aims to achieve not only structural durability, but also consideration of social conditions and natural environment on the site, as well as active hiring of a local workforce. Ostensibly, quality infrastructure may appear to be costly. However, it is efficient, easy to use, long-lasting, environmentally friendly, and thus ends up cheaper in the long run. Let me now introduce only one example of Japan's undertaking in this region. In Bangladesh, power supply has not kept pace with the rapid increase in demand stemming from recent economic growth. Addressing such circumstances, Japan is now assisting Bangladesh government in constructing a large power station, which is the first one in the western part of Bangladesh. We are constructing a highly efficient combined cycle thermal power station with low CO2 emissions and actively hiring local workforce. At the same time, we are also strengthening organizational capacity in operation and management of these power stations in view of a future phase after construction. Mr. Chairman, let me conclude here by reiterating Japan's commitment to continue to actively contribute to improvement of energy access in the region by making full use of Japan's technology and know-how through implementation of a quality infrastructure investment. I thank you.
Sir, I thank you for your statement. Our next speaker is Ms. Courtney Nemroff, Economic Counselor and Permanent Representative to ESCAP. Madam, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Mr. Chair, Madam Executive Secretary, distinguished colleagues, I am honored to be here today representing the United States of America at ESCAP's 73rd Commission meeting. Please allow me to begin by offering our host, the Kingdom of Thailand, my delegation's heartfelt condolences on the passing of His Majesty the King, Rama IX. His late Majesty was a leader respected worldwide for his commitment to the betterment of the Thai people. We share the sadness of the people of Thailand about his passing and strive to continue his efforts to encourage sustainable development and prosperity in Thailand and the region. Mr. Chairman, distinguished delegates, the United States firmly believes that ESCAP can make a valuable contribution to member state-led efforts to achieve sustainable development in the region. ESCAP has an important role to play, in particular as a forum to engage the private sector and civil society stakeholders on the range of issues related to sustainable development. The function is especially pertinent to the 73rd Commission's theme, Regional Cooperation for Sustainable Energy. It is widely accepted that clean water, sanitation, healthcare, and education all require access to affordable, reliable energy. But over 1 billion people globally lack access to electricity. And for another 1 billion, electricity is unreliable. Public sector efforts cannot overcome these challenges without private investment. And private investment can only be attracted in the right regulatory environment. Achieving the proper enabling environment may be politically difficult, but the short-term challenges will be well balanced by the longer-term gains. As we work to address shared challenges and achieve our common goals, it is critical that ESCAP's Secretariat ensures that resources are strategically targeted and well managed. This means leveraging existing capacities to the extent possible to maximize positive impact and avoid duplication of effort. Investments of scarce resources should be based on careful planning and assessment, Plans must also be put in place to clearly evaluate and demonstrate desired results. Of course, ESCAP member states also have an important role to play. In the era of financial constraint, we must all carefully weigh the impact of increasing demands on ESCAP and its capacity to meet new responsibilities. The burden is on us, the ESCAP membership, to protect ESCAP's core mandate. We should avoid overwhelming the Commission with niche requests that undermine its effectiveness in fulfilling its core mandate and its ability to respond to unforeseen critical needs as they arise in the region. We must prudently consider new commitments for ESCAP in light of competing demands, and consider options for sunsetting or consolidating existing projects that have run their course. The United States was proud to introduce language into this year's conference structure resolution, stressing the importance of results-based management and the need to increase savings, promote synergies, and reduce overlap in ESCAP's conference and committee structure. The United States commends ESCAP for its commitment to continuous dialogue with its member states on how to improve its efficiency and effectiveness for engagement in the region. We look forward to moving from discussion to concrete results. We acknowledge as well the resolutions committed by other members on pressing social and economic issues in the Asia and Pacific region. And we appreciate the commitment of the ESCAP membership to work together on these topics. Mr. Chairman, the United States is committed to finding common ground for progress with all ESCAP members. We look forward to the opportunity to continue our collective efforts here in Bangkok in these halls to achieve sustainable development throughout the year. Thank you very much.
Madam, I thank you for your statement. Our next speaker is Mr. Sam Eliha Marantek, Head of Finance Division, Secretariat Director of Multilateral Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia. Sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My delegation, first of all, would like to thank the Executive Secretary and her able Secretariat for the utmost endeavors in organizing this year's commission, which marks the 70th anniversary of UNESCAP establishment. We would like also to convey our gratitude to the government and the people of the Kingdom of Thailand for their kind hospitality. The theme topic of ESCAP's commission session, Regional Cooperation for Sustainable Energy, is indeed very timely and important, as energy is one of the most vital aspects in achieving almost all of the targets of SDGs, a fundamental element to achieving the 2030 agenda goals. Mr. Chairman, speaking on this year's Commission theme, let me begin by briefing you all on Indonesia's approach to energy access aims to accelerate the transition to clean energy while acknowledging the necessity to address the growing energy demand of our expanding industrial sector. My government national priority programs for improved energy access include, first, rapid development of 35,000 megawatts through power plant expansion and an additional of 46,000 kilometers of transmission lines across the country. This program will facilitate our economic growth target of 6 to 7% annually and complement our nation's continued effort to reduce poverty. Of these 35,000 megawatts, 25% will be sourced from renewable energy and 25% from gas. Second, Indonesia is committed to achieve a 100% electrification ratio by 2020. Presently, the level of village electrification in Indonesia is around 87%. Our approach is to establish an integrated community energy smart systems that will integrate our current infrastructure and promote the utilization of distributed energy resources. Third, another energy access program is the provision of affordable 2-kilogram LPG, liquid propane gas, and gas network development designed to expand our clean cooking program for millions of lower-income households who continue to endure the negative impact of indoor pollutants. At the same time, this program will contribute to a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. Moreover, the government of Indonesia is currently phasing out fuel subsidy that is not efficient and not well targeted. We believe that this action will trigger further development and more usage of new, clean, and renewable energies. Subsidies allocation will be shifted towards the infrastructure development and social welfare. This initiative requires breakthroughs in policy development and major sector reform, positioning energy as a key driver for national sustainable development programs. In addition, Indonesia has introduced energy policies that prioritize clean energy, promote innovative financing mechanisms, and accelerate technology diffusion along with human resource development. We are establishing a National Energy Resilience Fund for promoting clean and renewable energy. We are building a National Center of Excellence for Clean Energy to enable a surge capacity in the adoption of modern technology and mobilizations of community-based extension services. Mr. Chairman, in this multilateral framework of UN bodies, Indonesia will continue to play an active role in contributing constructive ideas and moving forward with the international community for a better world and for a better future ahead. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Agenda sets a balanced framework to integrate the dimension of economic, social, and environment aspects in our national development goals. As an archipelagic state, Indonesia has always promoted marine and ocean issues in many UN bodies, including in ESCAP. And with Goal 14 in the 2030 Agenda to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development, Indonesia believes that Goals 14 will strengthen international and regional cooperation in tackling matters related to marines and oceans. Recently, Indonesia hosted the Leaders Summit in commemoration of the 20th anniversary of the Indian Ocean Rim Association, IORA, and has introduced blue economy as priority policy, which underscores the importance to ensure the region's marine resources are harvested in a sustainable manner. We believe that building partnerships among all stakeholders in achieving sustainable development are crucial in having no one left behind. Let me conclude by hoping to see that our deliberation in this Commission session would result in concrete and enhanced regional cooperation for progress and mutual benefit for all people in Asia and the Pacific region. I thank you.
Sir, I thank you for your statement. I would like to invite Mr. Amanin Mamadov, Head of Global Economic Cooperation Division, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Azerbaijan. Sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dear Mr. Chairman, distinguished delegates, at the outset, allow me to congratulate ESCAP and Executive Secretary with the 17th anniversary of the Commission. We believe that this mature organization has a good potential to respond to the emerging challenges in the region and to serve as a platform for exchange of best practices as well as generating new ideas. We in Azerbaijan attach great importance to promoting cooperation with countries in the ESCAP region and look forward to deepening integration with our existing partners. The government of Azerbaijan has initiated a number of big projects in the fields of energy, transport, and information and communication technologies, which are aimed at strengthening existing economic ties in the region. Among those projects, I can mention Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan oil pipeline, Baku-Tbilisi-Erzurum gas pipeline, as well as a number of other infrastructure projects where Azerbaijan is an active participant. I should underline that the above-mentioned projects implemented with neighboring Georgia and Turkey stand as symbols of genuine spirit of regional cooperation. Located on the strategic crossroads of East and West, Azerbaijan is open to potential new initiatives on expansion of inter-regional energy connectivity and bringing Central Asia closer to European energy architecture. Azerbaijan promotes and encourages deployment of sustainable and clean energy solutions in line with the Sustainable Development Goal 7 and UN General's Initiative Sustainable Energy for All. Development of non-oil sector is priority for the government of Azerbaijan, and transport, ICT, agriculture and tourism sectors play an essential role in achieving the relevant goals. Being a landlocked developing country, Azerbaijan nevertheless is advancing in building interconnectivity in the region. Our vision of interconnectivity played an important role in shaping the patterns of regional transport networks. Azerbaijan is a crucial enabler and strong promoter of both north-south and east-west transport corridors. Development of these corridors covers connecting national railroad systems and creating relevant infrastructure. Azerbaijan is also starting point of strategic Baku-Tbilisi-Kars railroad project, which will bring China closer to Europe. We expect that this project will be put into operation this year. Physical interconnection of railroad is not self-sufficient, and in order to render it commercially viable, we are currently working on tariffs unification. Azerbaijan contributes to enhancing regional infrastructure by embarking on another remarkable project with the construction of a new Baku International Sea Trade Port, the biggest one in the Caspian Sea, with the capacity of handling 25 million tons annually. Moreover, free trade zone established in the territory of the port will raise the competitiveness of the region's position as logistical and transportation hub. In 2016, we launched the first container train starting from China, crossing Central Asia, Caspian Sea, further to Azerbaijan and Georgia, with destination to Europe. This was a testing exercise to work out on commercial attractiveness of the road. It proved that this road can reduce transit period from 30-35 to 15 days. In the framework of our activities in ICT sector, we can name Trans-Eurasian Information Superhighway TASIM initiative to connect Asia and Europe and to contribute to improvement and diversification of telecommunication transit routes in Eurasia. This initiative of Azerbaijan was also endorsed by the United Nations General Assembly resolutions, and ESCAP also shows interest to this project as a potential part of the Asia-Pacific Information Superhighway. We are also committed to meeting SDGs, and in order to harmonize national development policies with 2030 Development Agenda, Coordination Council on Sustainable Development, headed by Deputy Prime Minister, was created in October last year. As a result of the work already done in this framework, I can point out that the draft of our first voluntary national review on implementation of the SDGs has already been prepared, and we are working on its finalization to present this document at UN ECOSOC High-Level Political Forum to be held in New York this July. In conclusion, I would like to say that we do believe that ESCAP will continue to play active role in promoting economic cooperation in the region and coordinating joint efforts of its member states for the benefit of the region as a whole. In this context, we look forward to strengthening activities of the Special Program for Economies of Central Asia, SPECA, and believe that it will turn into successful and sustainable sub-regional project in the ESCAP region. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sir, I thank you for your statement. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, that completes the list of speakers for this item and concludes our deliberation on Agenda 9. I would like to hand over to the Secretariat to make an announcement. Okay. We shall now proceed to Agenda Item 11, Other Matters. Would any delegations wish to take the floor on any other pertinent matter that has not been covered during the course of our deliberations? No. I don't see any hands up, so I shall turn to the Secretary of the Commission to report on the result of the elections for the Governing Council of the Asian and Pacific Center for Transfer of Technology.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As noted in Conference Bulletin Number 2, the Secretariat closed nominations for the election of the Governing Council of the Asian and Pacific Center for Transfer of Technology, APCTT, at 12 noon on Tuesday, 16 May. Balloting for APCTT was conducted on Thursday, 18 May, from 1200 to 1600 hours. In accordance with the Center's statute, India, as the host country, automatically is a member of the Governing Council. 12 nominations were received for no fewer than 8 seats on the Governing Council. I'm pleased now to present the results of the vote as follows, with these countries elected to 3-year terms for the period 2017 to 2020. Bangladesh, China, Fiji, Indonesia, Iran, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Pakistan, the Philippines, the Republic of Korea, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. These are the next Governing Council for APCTT for the period 2017 to 2020. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we will now have a short break to allow the chair to assume his seat. We will resume in a few minutes' time. The meeting is now adjourned.
May I now call the Commission to order? Thank you. Excellencies, Madam Executive Secretary, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, again, the Commission is called to order. Let us now take up the final item on our agenda, item 12, the adoption of the report of the Commission session. Over the past few days, we have deliberated on a number of issues of paramount significance for this region and for our common future. I would like to express my deep appreciation to the Bureau of the Commission, the bureaus of the two committees of the whole, and the working group on draft resolutions for having accomplished their assignments with efficiency. I note with appreciation that the close cooperation of the delegations and efficient servicing by the Secretariat has enabled us to complete all our work on schedule. At this time, I would like to invite the chairs of the two committees of the whole and the working group on draft resolutions to report on the work of their committees. I would also like to remind the members of the Commission that as stipulated in Resolution 71/1, the report we are about to adopt contains only the decisions and resolutions that we'll be considering now. A draft record of proceedings will be prepared by the Secretariat following our session and circulated to our capitals for comments, after which it will be finalized and published. If that is clear to all delegations, and if there are no comments, I now invite Mr. Mohsen Balak, Deputy Director General, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Afghanistan, and Vice Chair of the Committee of the Whole One, to report to us on the work of that committee.
Mr. Chair, Your Excellencies, Madam Executive Secretary, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon. As the Vice Chair of the Committee of the Whole One, it's both an honor and pleasure for me to provide some highlights of the deliberations of the committee, which resulted in the decisions as contained in document E/ESCAP/73/L13. The Committee of the Whole One was entrusted by the Commission to consider items 2 and 3, A, B, C, H, and I of the agenda of the Commission. I am therefore pleased to note that the committee successfully completed the task assigned to it with the full cooperation of all delegations. The committee deliberated on a range of important issues pertinent to the respective agenda items. Mr. Chair, allow me to briefly highlight a few of these issues under each agenda item as follows. Under agenda item 2, Special Body on Least Developed, Landlocked Developing and Pacific Island Developing Countries, the committee recognized the progress made by these member states, while noting remaining significant challenges faced by countries with special needs. The committee highlighted the importance of analytical and capacity building support of the Secretariat and the international community at large in addressing various challenges in these countries, including overcoming the barriers to graduation from the least developed country status. Further, the committee reiterated the need for improved financing for development in least developed countries, including through increased official development assistance. In landlocked developing countries, the committee stressed the importance of trade facilitation, transit, transport, and infrastructure development, recognizing that the countries with special needs, especially small island developing states, are more vulnerable to natural disasters. The committee also emphasized the importance of building resilience in these member states, including through disaster preparedness and resilience to future shocks. Under Agenda Item 3A on macroeconomic policy, poverty reduction, and financing for development, the committee noted that while the economy of the region overall has been growing, alleviating poverty and making economic growth inclusive remain priorities for Asia and the Pacific. The committee noted that mobilizing financial resources for development, such as official development assistance and foreign direct investment, needs to be reinvigorated. The committee also recognized and welcomed the ongoing work of the Secretariat in this area, including on analytical studies, dialogue, and cooperation efforts in such areas as tax policy and public-private partnerships. The committee expressed its view that the Center for Alleviation of Poverty and Sustainable Agriculture could position itself to contribute to the achievement of SDG 2, end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture through capacity building in member states. One delegation informed the committee of its readiness to continue its financial and in-kind contributions to the center, noting that the financial responsibility should not be attributed disproportionately to the host country alone. Under Agenda Item 3B, the committee noted the importance of trade and investment as a means of implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals, in particular SDG 17, and emphasized the key role of a multilateral trading system in global trade, including for establishing an equitable trading system through mechanisms such as duty-free, quota-free market access for least developed countries. The committee also noted the complementarity role of regional trade agreements, including the Asia-Pacific Trade Agreement, in promoting regional cooperation and integration in general and regional trade in particular. In this context, the committee requested the Secretariat to enhance its capacity building activities to help member states to integrate more effectively into global and regional value chains. The committee recognized the importance of trade facilitation and ICT for trade and transit. In this context, various member states expressed their appreciation for the work of the Secretariat in this area and encouraged member countries to sign the regional framework agreement on paperless trade. The committee noted the importance of foreign direct investment for development and initiative of various countries to promote FDI inter alia through incentives and export promotion zones. The committee called on the Secretariat to provide capacity building assistance in this area to those countries. The committee noted the importance of science, technology, and innovation for sustainable development. The committee called on the Secretariat and Asia-Pacific Center for Transfer of Technology to enhance its technical assistance and play a constructive role in the area of CTI, including information dissemination, knowledge sharing of good practices, capacity building, promotion of South-South cooperation, increasing regional and international cooperation, and science and technology and innovation and facilitation of technology transfer to support the implementation of the SDGs. Finally, the Commission recognized the importance of sustainable agriculture and agricultural mechanization and the work of the Center for Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization and its Asia-Pacific network on testing of agriculture machinery in this area. Under Agenda Item 3C, the committee reaffirmed the priority accorded to transport by the Asian and Pacific governments and the member states' commitment to regional cooperation for the development of transport connectivity through the Asian Highway, Trans-Asian Highway, dry ports, and maritime connectivity, as well as transport facilitation. The committee recognized the role of transport connectivity in achieving the SDGs, notably in supporting sustainable economic growth, alleviating poverty, improving the environment, and enabling all the goals. In this context, the committee supported the outcomes of the Ministerial Conference on Transport held in Moscow in December 2016, including the Regional Action Program on Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and the Pacific 2017-2021. The committee noted with appreciation the generous financial support from the government of China, Republic of Korea, and the Russian Federation to the ESCAP projects on transport connectivity and their commitment to continue the support to the Secretariat in the implementation of the Regional Action Program 2017 up to 2021. The committee expressed its appreciation to the Secretariat for the outstanding work in developing regional transport connectivity. Under Agenda Item 3H on statistics, the committee emphasized the importance of data and statistics for the monitoring and achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. The committee expressed appreciation for the work of the Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific and emphasized the importance of e-learning and increasing access to training. Several delegations reiterated their commitment to collaborating with CEAP through provision of in-kind or financial support. Several delegations highlighted the ongoing work on disaster-related statistics, the system of the environmental economic accounting, civil registration and vital statistics, economic statistics, and population and social statistics in the region with the support of the Secretariat. Further, the committee recognized the role of the Committee on Statistics in coordinating capacity development initiatives for the SDGs through the collective vision and framework for action by the Asia-Pacific Statistical Community. Last but not least, under Agenda Item 3I on sub-regional activities for development, the committee recognized the key role that each sub-regional office has been playing in supporting the member states in areas such as regional cooperation and integration and achieving of the Sustainable Development Goals. The committee recognized the importance of the sub-regional offices working closely with other UN entities and sub-regional organizations to be able to add value given their limited resources. Mr. Chair, the deliberations resulted in the recommendation of a number of decisions as reflected in E/ESCAP/73/L13 for consideration and adoption by the Commission. I thank you, Mr. Chair, Madam Executive Secretary, and distinguished delegates. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Balak, Deputy Director General, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Afghanistan, for your report. May I now invite Ms. Doma Sering, Director, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Bhutan, and Chair of Committee of the Whole to report to us on the work of that committee.
Thank you, Excellency. Mr. Chair, Your Excellencies, Madam Executive Secretary, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to all. As the Chair of the Committee of the Whole too, it is both an honor and a pleasure for me to provide some highlights on the deliberation of the committee, which resulted in the decisions as contained in document number ESCAP 73 L13. The Committee of the Whole too was entrusted by the Commission to consider items 3D, 3E, 3F, 3G, 3J, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 of the agenda of the Commission. I'm pleased to inform the committees of the committee successfully completed the tasks assigned to it with the full cooperation of all delegations and excellent support of the Secretariat. The committee deliberated on a range of important issues pertinent to the respective agenda items. Mr. Chair, allow me to briefly highlight a few of these issues under each agenda item as follows. Under agenda item 3D on environment and development, the committee took note of the efforts taken by member states towards environmental protection and sustainable management of natural resources, as well as the national adaptation plans for climate change, sustainable urban development, water management and sanitation, and reducing GHG emissions, etc. The committee recognized the role of the Secretariat in coordinating the implementation of the Regional Roadmap for Implementation of Agenda 2030 and suggested that the Secretariat continue to play its role as an intergovernmental platform for regional cooperation and providing technical assistance to member states on resource management, water and forest conservation, transfer of technology, etc. The committee felt the need for the Secretariat to cooperate and collaborate with other UN agencies in assisting member states on climate financing for facilitating national and regional cooperation for climate change actions. Under agenda items 3E on information and communications technology, science, technology and innovation, the committee recognized the importance of ICT and STI in Asia-Pacific region as it can facilitate the cross-sectoral development goals and appreciated the role of the Secretariat in acting as a regional platform for intergovernmental cooperation in promoting digital technology and ICT connectivity. The committee expressed its appreciation to the Secretariat as well as members of the working group on the Asia-Pacific Information Superhighway and looked forward to successful implementation of its master plan and regional cooperation framework. The committee recognized the Secretariat's work on establishing an Asia-Pacific Innovation Forum and identified areas of cooperation to facilitate transfer of technology and ICT know-how. The committee also appreciated the work of the Asia-Pacific Center for Transfer of Technology, APCTT, Asian and Pacific Training Center for Information and Communication Technology for Development, APCICT, and the Asian and Pacific Center for Development of Disaster Information Management. Under agenda item 3F on disaster risk reduction, the committee highlighted the importance of multi-hazard early warning system for building resilience towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. In this regard, it recognized the leading role of the Secretariat in strengthening regional cooperation mechanisms for multi-hazard early warning system and disaster risk assessment. The committee acknowledged that space applications and ICT are vital tools for addressing disaster risks and attaining sustainable development goals. The committee appreciated the important role played by the Secretariat's multi-donor trust fund for tsunami, disaster, and climate preparedness in the Indian Ocean and Southeast Asian countries. While sharing national experiences under the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction, the committee supported the Secretariat's initiatives on greater use of space applications and desired early finalization of new Asia-Pacific Plan of Action for Space Applications 2018 to 2030. The committee recognized the importance of mainstreaming disaster risk reduction into country policies and plans, as well as sharing of knowledge, lessons, and good practices. The committee highlighted the need to promote the application of science and technology and research for evidence-based disaster risk reduction policies, practices, and solutions, including through regional cooperation. Under agenda item 3G on social development, the committee recognized that social development is a crucial element of sustainable development, reiterating their commitment to leaving no one behind. The committee discussed the actions taken by member states on reaching gender equality, addressing population aging, and strengthening the rights of older persons, providing social protection, and addressing inequality. The committee appreciated the work done by the Secretariat on issues relating to participation of youth, gender equality, integrating persons with disabilities, and addressing population aging, and desired that the Secretariat continue its efforts in addressing these issues. The committee expressed appreciation for the work of the Secretariat in enhancing the capacity of member states on social development issues and also on collecting and using gender statistics and sex disaggregated data in the context of the implementation of the Beijing +20 Ministerial Declaration, as well as progress monitoring for the SDGs. The committee expressed appreciation for the efforts of the Secretariat to improve the reliability and comparability of disability data, in particular through the implementation of the Incheon strategy. Under Agenda Item 3J on Energy, the committee welcomed the establishment of the Committee on Energy, which met in its first session in January 2017. The committee recognized that promotion of sustainable energy in the context of energy security as the key challenge in the region, which could be addressed through regional cooperation for sustainable energy in attaining the Sustainable Development Goals. The committee noted and shared national experiences in attaining Sustainable Development Goal 7. The committee expressed its support to the work of the Secretariat in its efforts towards promoting access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy in the region, and expressed that the Secretariat must play a greater role in this area in the region. Agenda Item 4A on the 4th Asia-Pacific Forum on Sustainable Development. Under that agenda item, the committee requested that the comprehensive work to support the implementation of the 2030 Agenda continue. It welcomed and supported the proposed inclusion of the Asia-Pacific Forum for Sustainable Development in the ESCAP conference structure as an inclusive intergovernmental platform, pointing to the APFSD's multiple benefits, including its role in supporting international cooperation and dialogue, identifying regional challenges and priorities, supporting regional follow-up and review, facilitating exchange of best practices, and supporting the preparation of voluntary national reviews. The committee also welcomed and supported the proposed endorsement, adoption, of the regional roadmap for implementing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development in Asia and the Pacific, as approved at the APFSD 2017. The committee also noted in some member states that although data availability remains a challenge, implementation initiatives are supported by sound analysis and strengthened institutional coordination, among other arrangements. The committee also took note of the example set by the Pacific sub-region, which is taking the lead with its Pacific Roadmap. Under Agenda Item 4B on Financing for Development, the committee took note of the note verbal dated 10th May 2017 from the Embassy of the Democratic Republic of Sri Lanka. Under Agenda Item 5 on Management Issues, the committee endorsed the proposed program of work for the biennium 2018 to 2019 under Agenda Item 5A. Under Agenda Item 5B, the committee endorsed the proposed program changes for the biennium 2016 to 2017. Under Agenda Item 5C, the committee noted the report on partnerships, extra budgetary contributions, and capacity development. The committee also appreciated the contributions pledged by members and associate members for 2017. Moving to Agenda Item 6, the committee noted the progress made on implementation of Commission Resolution 71/1 and also that a resolution is likely to be adopted. Moving to Agenda Item 7, the committee acknowledged the work done by the Advisory Committee of Permanent Representatives and other representatives designated by members of the Commission. The committee highly appreciated the efforts made by the chair of the ACPR and the executive secretary of ESCAP for their leadership in promoting regional cooperation. And finally, under Agenda Item 8, the committee considered that the 74th session would be held in April or May 2018. The actual dates would be determined in consultation with the ACPR and other representatives designated by members of the Commission. The committee also noted that the theme topic for the 74th session of the Commission in 2018 would be inequality in the era of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Mr. Chair, the deliberations resulted in the recommendation of a number of decisions as reflected in document number ESCAP 73 L13 for consideration and adoption by the Commission. I thank you, Mr. Chair, Madam Executive Secretary, and distinguished delegates.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sharing, Director, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Bhutan, for your comprehensive report. I now invite His Excellency Mr. Kakanath Atrikari, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary and Permanent Representative of Nepal to ESCAP, Chair of the Working Group on Draft Resolutions, to report to us on the work of that working group. Your Excellency.
Mr. Chairman, Excellencies, Madam Executive Secretary, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Please permit me at the outset to thank the Commission for entrusting in me and Mr. Pita Tatisaki Rewa, alternate permanent representative of Fiji to ESCAP, the responsibility of Chairman and Vice Chairman of the Working Group on Draft Resolutions. We both were honored by the opportunity and indeed greatly enjoyed working with each of the distinguished delegates in the working group. I wish to extend to them our deepest thanks for their active participation in the deliberations and for the flexibility and spirit of cooperation demonstrated right from the beginning of our informal sessions. Mr. Chairman, this year the working group on draft resolutions had a particularly challenging work, as its deliberations protracted well beyond the scheduled time. But this is a testament of the seriousness and the importance Member States have placed on the issues under consideration at this year's Commission session. And while countries had different views at times, in the end, all delegations showed great flexibility and spirit of cooperation, which enabled the working group to reach a successful outcome. I feel happy to share with you, Mr. Chairman, that each and every member in the working group made every effort and left no stone unturned to reach a mutually agreeable conclusion. However, one resolution had to be recommended by the working group, with one delegation expressing its preference to dissociate itself from one resolution. I'd like to take this opportunity to express my sincere thanks to all the delegations for their hard work, tireless efforts, flexibility, and the spirit of cooperation. I would also like to acknowledge the efforts of the Secretariat throughout our consultations over the last few weeks. I speak for the entire working group when I say that the support provided by the Secretariat is greatly appreciated. Mr. Chairman, it is now my honor to present to the Commission this year's slate of draft resolutions as recommended by the working group on draft resolutions for consideration and adoption by the Commission. There are 9 draft resolutions before the Commission for adoption. Each resolution deals with a range of important issues before the Commission and reflects the importance Member States have placed on the issues we have been deliberating at this session. Without taking longer time, Mr. Chairman, I will now read the resolutions out in the order in which they were submitted by the working group for adoption by the Commission. 1. A conference structure of the Commission aligned with the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development is contained in document E/ESCAP/73L4. 2. Strengthening the regional mechanism for the implementation of the Vienna Programme of Action for landlocked developing countries for the decade 2014-2024 as contained in document E/ESCAP/73/L5/Rev1. 3. Advancing integrated and seamless connectivity for sustainable development in Asia and the Pacific as contained in document E/ESCAP/73/L6. 4. Implementation of the Ministerial Declaration on Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and the Pacific as contained in document E/ESCAP/73/L7. 5. Strengthening Asia-Pacific support for the United Nations Conference to support the implementation of Sustainable Development Goal 14 as contained in document E/ESCAP/73/L8. 6. Implementation of the Asia-Pacific Information Superhighway Initiative through regional cooperation is contained in document E/ESCAP/73/L9. 7. enhancing the regional cooperation for implementation of the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction 2015 to 2030 in Asia and the Pacific region, as contained in document E/SCAP/73/L10/Rev1. 8. Strengthening regional cooperation for sustainable energy development in Asia and the Pacific, as contained in document E/SCAP/73/L11. And finally, regional roadmap for implementing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development in Asia and the Pacific, as contained in document E/SCAP/73/L12. Mr. Chairman, these are the 9 draft resolutions which the working group is recommending for consideration and adoption by the Commission. I thank you, Your Excellency, and distinguished delegates for your support and cooperation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ambassador. Excellencies, we have had very good reports from the committees of the whole, 1, 2, and also from the Committee on Draft Resolution. I think we deserve to a strong claps from the floor. Give us 3 claps, only 3. Oh, hold on. Can you hold on, please? Not yet. I ask you to give me only 3 claps, 1 clap for each of the reporters, the ambassadors. If you cannot count, I will keep you here for the rest of the evening. All right, on the word go. 1, 2, 3, go. 3 claps. What is that? Are you still awake or are you? All right. Excellencies, all right. I hope everybody is awake now. We will now first take up the draft resolutions. For ease of review, I will take up the resolutions one by one in the order of the agenda item under which they were tabled. You will see that the first resolution is entitled "A Conference Structure of the Commission Aligned with the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development," as contained in document E/SCAP/73/L.4. The draft resolution is presented to the Commission for adoption. I see consensus. The resolution is adopted. The next resolution, Excellencies, is strengthening the regional mechanism for the implementation of the Vienna Programme of Action for landlocked developing countries for the decade 2014 to 2024, as contained in document E/SCAP/73/L.5/Rev.1. I see Thailand asking for the floor. Sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. My delegation has the honor to co-sponsor this draft resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any other delegation asking for the floor. I see consensus. The resolution is adopted. The resolution 3, advancing integrated and seamless connectivity for sustainable development in Asia and the Pacific, as contained in document E/SCAP/73/L.6. India. I see India. You have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to make a statement on this draft resolution. India is of firm belief that connectivity initiatives must be based on universally recognized international norms, good governance, rule of law, openness, transparency, and equality. Connectivity projects must be pursued in a manner that respects sovereignty and territorial integrity. India shares international community's desire for enhancing physical connectivity and believes that it should bring greater economic benefits to all in an equitable and balanced manner. Guided by a principled position, expansion and strengthening of connectivity is an integral part of economic and diplomatic initiatives. A multilateral forum, especially an august forum like UNESCAP, must address concerns of all member states involved in the process. However, despite our repeated and consistent efforts of many weeks together, our core concerns have not been addressed. Therefore, on the resolution entitled Advancing Integrated and Seamless Connectivity for Sustainable Development in Asia and the Pacific, we continue to have reservations on various parts of the text of the draft resolution. In view of our reservations on it, India wishes to disassociate completely from the draft resolution. However, in the spirit of multilateralism and UNESCAP, India does not wish to come in the way of the draft resolution being considered by the 73rd Commission session of the UNESCAP. India requests the Commission to record our position on this draft resolution in the proceedings of the Commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Distinguished Delegate of India, for your statement, which will be reflected and recorded accordingly in appropriate place by the Secretariat. Now, the draft resolution is presented for the adoption of the Commission. I see consensus, the resolution is adopted. Next resolution is implementation of the Ministerial Declaration on Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and the Pacific as contained in document E/ESCAP/73 L.7. I see Bangladesh asking for the floor, Excellency.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to inform you, I failed on both accounts in clapping 3. First time and second time too. You allow me this statement, right?
Yes, yes, for once. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it. Mr. Chairman, in support of Bangladesh's commitment to promote road transport connectivity and throughout the Asia and the Pacific and the Asian Highway Network, Bangladesh would like to co-sponsor this resolution tabled by the Russian Federation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Ambassador of Bangladesh. Your statement will, of course, be reflected in appropriate place by the Secretariat. I now recognize the delegation of the United States. Your Excellency.
Thank you, Chairman. The United States is pleased to join consensus on the resolution concerning implementation of the Ministerial Declaration on Sustainable Transport Connectivity in Asia and the Pacific. We note, however, that the United States did not participate in the Ministerial Transport Conference and does not necessarily endorse the contents of the declaration or the annexes contained therein. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, delegation of the United States of America. Of course, your statement will be reflected in the appropriate place by the Secretariat in the record of the Commission session. Otherwise, I see consensus on the resolution. The resolution is adopted. The next resolution is strengthening Asia-Pacific support for the United Nations Conference to support the implementation of Sustainable Development Goal 14 as contained in document E/ESCAP/73/L.8. I see the delegation of Thailand. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Chair. My delegation would like to co-sponsor this draft resolution too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. That statement of yours will be reflected in the record, and thank you for your support. I now recognize the delegation of Indonesia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Indonesia is very pleased to co-sponsor this resolution, and we thank to the delegation of Fiji for forwarding this resolution, as issues concerning to oceans and marine is very dear to Indonesia. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, delegation of Indonesia, for your statement of support, and your statement will be accordingly reflected in the records by the Secretariat. Thank you very much indeed. I recognize delegation of Pakistan.
Thank you, Chair. I also wish to support the delegation, to co-sponsor the resolution by Fiji. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the delegation of Pakistan, for your support. Your statement will be recorded accordingly by the Secretariat. Thank you. I recognize the delegation of Tuvalu.
Thank you, Chair. Given the importance of oceans in the Pacific Island countries in Tuvalu, I would like to register the willingness and support to co-sponsor the ocean resolution by Fiji. Thank you.
Thank you very much, delegation of Tuvalu. Your statement will be reflected in the record. Thank you for your support. I now recognize the delegation of Australia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We would just again like to underline our support for the resolution and our early co-sponsorship of that resolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Madam Delegation of Australia, again for that very strong support. And I understand the Secretariat also has an announcement to be made.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's my pleasure to inform the meeting that the Government of New Zealand has requested the Secretariat to inform everybody that it also wishes to co-sponsor this particular resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretariat, for that announcement. On behalf of the delegation of New Zealand, who has kindly also offered their support and sponsorship of this very important resolution. And again, reiterate our thanks to the delegation of Fiji for their leadership in this resolution. Thank you, Excellencies. The next one will... Yes. Yeah, the draft resolution is now presented to the Commission for adoption. I see strong consensus here, very strong consensus, and I think the resolution is adopted. Oh, yeah, give, yeah, strong, big applause. Not yet there. Resolution 6, implementation of the Asia-Pacific Information Superhighway Initiative through regional cooperation, as contained in document E/SCAP/73/L.9. I see delegation of Bangladesh. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to give a statement on the tabled resolution. The government of Bangladesh tabled the resolution titled Implementation of the Asia-Pacific Information Superhighway Initiative through Regional Cooperation at the 73rd Commission Initiative through Regional Cooperation. National aspirations for a digital Bangladesh envisioned by our visionary Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and by our foreign policy compulsion for regional cooperation for digital connectivity throughout Asia and Pacific. With the adoption of this resolution, we look forward to a new narrative of cooperation and knowledge-sharing partnerships among members and associate members of ESCAP for implementation of the Asia-Pacific Information Superhighway Master Plan and the Regional Cooperation Framework document. In keeping with Bangladesh's commitment to remain at the forefront of the strengthening regional ICT connectivity, Bangladesh has made amendment proposals to the intergovernmental agreements on Asia Highway Network and Trans-Asia Railway Network for aligning them with the Asia-Pacific Information Superhighway, so as to drive greater synergy from all three. Bangladesh has also offered to host the first meeting of the Asia-Pacific Information Superhighway Steering Committee in Dhaka in September 2017. In this resolution, we have underlined the importance of leaving no one or no country behind, including the LDCs, LLDCs, SIDS, as well as including youth, women, people with disabilities, and other disadvantaged sections of society in ensuring their universal access to information and communications technology. Bangladesh firmly believes that without bridging the digital divide and disparity in ICT connectivity in the Asia-Pacific region, it will be impossible to achieve the Agenda 2030. We thank all member states who supported us in this resolution, especially those who stood next to Bangladesh to co-sponsor this resolution: China, Fiji, Philippines, Republic of Korea, Russia, Thailand, Islamic Republic of Iran, and the Russian Federation. Our appreciation also goes to ESCAP ICT Division for their substantive support throughout the process. I thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you for your statement, which will be reflected accordingly by the Secretary in the records. Thank you. I recognize the delegation of the Russian Federation.
Благодарю вас, господин председатель. Я хотел бы только подтвердить, что Российская Федерация готова войти в число соавторов этой важной резолюции, предложенной делегацией Бангладеш. Благодарю вас, господин председатель.
Thank you very much, delegation of Russian Federation. Your statement will be recorded accordingly by the Secretariat. Excellencies, I now present the draft resolution to the Commission for adoption. I see consensus. The resolution is adopted. Thank you. The next one is enhancing the regional cooperation for implementation of the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction 2015 to 2030 in Asia and the Pacific region, as contained in document E/ESCAP/73/L.10/Rev1. I see the delegation of Australia, so you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. The delegation of Australia would like to warmly thank all the delegations for their hard work on this important resolution, and we'd be very honored to have our name added to the list of co-sponsors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, delegation of Australia, of course, indeed. And your statement will be recorded accordingly. Sponsorship will be added. Indonesia delegation, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Indonesia would also like to co-sponsor this resolution, and we thank to Mongolia and Thailand for putting forward this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, delegation of Indonesia. We record your interventions by the Secretariat accordingly, and thank you for your sponsorship. Bangladesh delegation, you have the floor, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In support of Bangladesh's commitment to the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction 2015-2030 in the Asia and the Pacific, Bangladesh would like to table the resolution enhancing regional cooperation for the implementation of the Sendai Framework tabled by Mongolia and Thailand. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Statement will be recorded accordingly. Thank you very much. I see the delegation of the United States of America.
Thank you, Chairman. The United States is pleased to join consensus on this resolution. As is common with a new administration, the United States is in the process of reviewing many of its policies, including climate change and the Paris Agreement. While such review is underway, the United States reserves its position on these issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, delegation of the United States of America, and thank you for your support to the Sendai framework, and hopefully also you will continue your support to the climate change Paris Agreement. Of course, but with all our due respect to your consideration, but we remain as a family, including the U.S., so thank you very much indeed. Excellencies, I now present to the Commission the draft resolution for adoption. I see consensus. The draft resolution is adopted by the Commission. The next one, strengthening regional cooperation for sustainable energy development in Asia and the Pacific, as contained in document E/ESCAP/73/L.11. I see consensus. I present the draft resolution. I present a draft resolution to the Commission for adoption. I see consensus. The draft resolution is adopted. 9, the regional roadmap for implementing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development in Asia and the Pacific, as contained in document E/ESCAP/73/L.12. Yes, I recognize the delegation of the United States. America, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, we moved very quickly on that last one. As regards the resolution on energy, the United States is pleased to join consensus on that resolution. As is common with the new administration, again, the United States is in the process of reviewing many of its policies, including climate change and the Paris Agreement. While such review is underway, the United States reserves its position on these issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much, delegation of the United States of America, for your statement, which will be reflected accordingly by the Secretariat in the records. Thank you. Thailand, I recognize your flag.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My delegation would like to co-sponsor this draft resolution also. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thailand will be reflected in the record, your statement. Now I recognize delegation of Vietnam.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My delegation also would like to co-sponsor this resolution.
Thank you very much, delegation of Vietnam. We will record your statement by the Secretariat in the record of the session. Now, I present the draft resolution to the Commission for adoption. Sorry, I recognize Indonesia, delegation of Indonesia.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. I heard before, are we on the regional roadmap or? Yes, I believe we are on the regional roadmap, right? Yes.
You are right.
Yes, thank you. There was some confusion before. Yes, Mr. Chairman, Indonesia is very pleased to co-sponsor this important resolution, and we thank to the delegation of Pakistan for putting forward this very important resolution. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Indonesia. I didn't mean to confuse you, but I thought we were on the right process to this resolution. But otherwise, with those comments, we will, of course, reflect your statement in the records. Excellency, I present that of Pakistan, delegation of Pakistan.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to avail this opportunity to thank all our co-sponsors for supporting us on this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Delegation of Pakistan. Thank you for acknowledging the work done by all delegations. I think with that, Excellencies, we've Yes, the resolution number 9, the draft resolution is now presented to the Commission for adoption. I see consensus. The resolution is adopted. Excellencies, before we conclude our adoption of the resolutions, I would like to refer to the document E/SCAP/73/L.3/@.1 Statement of Program Budget Implications of Actions and Proposals of the Commission. The document is presented to the Commission for adoption. I see consensus. It is so adopted. That completes the adoption of the draft resolutions, Excellencies. We will now consider the decisions of the Commission at this session. You have before you document E/SCAP/73/L.13, which contains all the draft decisions. In this regard, the Secretariat has a brief update to make. Secretariat.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. With regard to draft decision 38 contained in document L13, I would like to inform the Commission that in addition to the contributions pledged by members and associate members for 2017, the government of Brunei Darussalam informed the Commission that it would make the following contributions: to the Pacific Trust Fund, $1,000, to the Statistical Institute for Asia and the Pacific, $15,000. Furthermore, the delegation of Indonesia has also submitted a slightly revised contribution form with their pledges in a different currency. We shall make the required adjustments in their contributions after the session. Therefore, the Secretariat will reflect in the final report of the Commission this additional pledge from the government of Brunei Darussalam and the adjustment to the pledge by the government of Indonesia. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Secretariat. Thank you very much for those announcements. If the plenary agrees, we shall adopt all the draft decisions together. Are there any general comments at this stage? Does any delegation wish to make any comments or specific observations at this stage? I don't mind further contributions if you have. No. I see consensus. We adopt the decisions, the draft decisions, as presented to the Commission. Excellencies, those are all of the resolutions and decisions taken by the Commission at this session. We shall now consider the part of the draft report dealing with the organization of the 73rd session of the Commission as contained in document E/SCAP/73/L.3. Distinguished delegates, may I kindly note that changes of any editorial or grammatical nature will be taken care by the Secretariat. Are there any comments on the document? Thank you very much. I see none. Document E/SCAP/73/L.3 is adopted. This concludes the consideration of the draft report. Distinguished delegates, it is my great honor to propose that with the incorporation of the various... Delegation of Australia.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and I would just like to take this opportunity to offer a vote of thanks. Mr. Chair, it gives me great pleasure on behalf of my delegation to convey our deep appreciation to you for guiding the deliberations of the 73rd session of the Commission to a successful conclusion, as you have done so ably this afternoon. And I should also like to convey through you, Mr. Chair, our thanks and appreciation to the Royal Thai Government for their warm hospitality offered to all the participants. And finally, Mr. Chair, I'd like to record our sincere thanks to Dr. Shamshad Akhtar, Executive Secretary of ESCAP, and all her able staff in the Secretariat for the excellent preparations for the sessions and the services rendered to the delegations, which have made our tasks so much easier. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, distinguished delegation of Australia, for those words of thanks. And I take it that the thanks to the Royal Thai Government will be conveyed accordingly as requested by you on behalf of the Commission. It is now my belief that with the incorporation of the various amendments as agreed to during this session, the report of the 73rd Commission session is adopted by consensus. It is adopted. Before I close this session, I would like to invite the Executive Secretary, Ms. Shamshad Akhtar, to make her concluding remarks. Madam, you have the floor.
Chair, Honourable Ministers, and all the Excellencies, it's been definitely a very intensive week, but it's been worth the deliberations at the 73rd session have shown countries' determination to not only support the 70th anniversary of ESCAP, but to move forward on a common development agenda, hopefully servicing all of you in an equal manner. As the Secretary-General stated in his message to the Commission, the spirit of openness, willingness to work within and beyond borders in Asia-Pacific is critical to enhancing multilateralism and to build a better future for our children, and we remain committed to support you all. I'd like to thank you all sincerely for your active participation, personal support that you have all offered in driving forward and concluding the resolutions and decisions. Your insights into your national development challenges and opportunities have been valuable, and we have taken note of all the new elements that you may have raised to be able to factor those in future. It is a testament not only to your commitment to development, but also to the importance of ESCAP as your own regional platform. The countries of Asia-Pacific have shown, in my view, great leadership in launching the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Of course, a great deal of work remains to be done to implement the agenda as part of your national plans and budgets, and for us to offer the regional coherence, consistency, and coordination that we have been asked to support. Going forward, the region needs to consider how to transform its policies, its investments, and its action at all levels and by multiple stakeholders. And I believe through the various processes that we have, this all will take place in, of course, steady manner. As a result of your work, a clear future direction seems to have been laid out. Through the 73rd Commission, I'm happy that we now have final endorsement of the regional roadmap for implementing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. I believe this is the first such initiative in any region from my perspective, because I've been watching what other commissions have been doing. The priority areas in the roadmap will of course guide our collective work in critical areas such as climate change, disaster risk reduction, resilience, natural resource management, connectivity, and so forth. Based on your roadmap, we will also redouble our efforts to promote the means of implementation, especially through the development of data and statistics and promotion of innovation and technology, trade and financing for development. We have listened very carefully to your interventions, and have underlined which have underlined the mutually reinforcing nature of the Sustainable Development Goals and regional cooperation and integration. We are fully committed to coordination and coherence in the United Nations, within the United Nations system, in the implementation of 2030 Agenda and the regional roadmap. Through the regional coordination mechanism, we will continue to monitor and work together to deliver as one and keep on reporting to you. Our partnerships with number of agencies, in particular with Asian Development Bank and UNDP to support regional follow-up and review, will be one of the critical areas. We will also work with a number of UN funds and programs, including there is already a plan for UNEP and us, with whom we will be holding a joint ministerial conference on environment later this year, which will save not only the cost but also the time of the ministers and the senior officials. In addition to the roadmap, I have noted the 8 other resolutions and all the calls that you have made to the Executive Secretary and to the ESCAP. I believe they're all in the right direction. These will help to further mainstream the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and Conference Structure of ESCAP and the work of Secretariat. The most critical are, of course, the seamless connectivity for sustainable development, sustainable transport, sustainable energy, and ICT connectivity. And I noticed the tremendous amount of support through the sponsor and co-sponsoring. And this is all, as I believe, are the backbones of the implementation. The resolution, of course, have oriented us to further support countries with special needs with the implementation of the 2030 Agenda. You have renewed your support for landlocked developing countries by driving forward work underway to deliver the Vienna Programme of Action. Overall, we will continue to work very closely with countries with special needs to make sure we continue to be responsive to their demands. We will strengthen support for all the member states, but more particularly for the CSN countries. And I notice the unanimous adoption of all the resolution, but very overwhelming support for the UN Oceans Conference in line with the resolution you have passed, and including enhancing data and statistical capacities for SDG 14. To us, disaster risk reduction is extremely critical, and we will continue to strengthen collaboration with all of you on this. I believe with your support, we have now completed the task of enhancing the governance structure of the Commission and aligned it now fully to the demands of the 2030 Agenda. I have to say once again, humbly, that we were the first UN Regional Commission to reform, to align ourselves with 2030 Agenda in such a substantive manner, which really reflects more your vision and your proactivity in this, on this platform. During this session, you endorsed in the incorporation of the Asia-Pacific Forum on Sustainable Development into the conference structure. Again, this is unprecedented. Also, you know that we will be presenting the findings of all this the Asia-Pacific Sustainable Development to the high-level political forum, where we will call on the chair to provide the summary of the APFSD, but also we will be calling on one of the sub-regions to present, besides the report that I will present to HLPF. Energy Committee, there's tremendous amount of work ahead, and there is going to be a ministerial conference sponsored by during the Astana Expo, and this ministerial conference will go beyond Asia Pacific but will include other countries also. I believe this and other initiatives that we are taking, the Energy Committee and the sub-program, it will help us integrate the issues of energy connectivity with the SDG 7 sustainable energy as highlighted by this year's theme study. What has been extremely helpful is your decision to create 2 energy expert groups so that we can systematically plan and also have a pretty cohesive dialogue. These groups, I believe, are going to be on energy connectivity and universal access to modern energy services, renewable energy, energy efficiency, and cleaner fossil fuel. I believe these kind of expert groups help to enhance and augment the quality of our support to you. Transport, I think this Regional Action Program for Sustainable Transport Connectivity was endorsed by an unprecedented support at the Transport Committee meeting, for which we have to thank the Minister of Transport of Russia. I'd like to do so personally because it was a very unprecedented Transport Committee meeting. So I'd like to thank the delegate from Russia, because this is going to lay the foundation for sustainable intra-regional and deeper economic integration in the regions. You have called upon us to support the effective implementation of infrastructure projects associated with sub-regional and regional initiatives. We will be discussing with some of the multilaterals on how to cooperate and coordinate some of the not only our own ESCAP-led regional cooperation and integration initiative, for which a ministerial conference has got to take place this year, but we will also be supportive of all the relevant mega initiatives that your particular regions or subgroup of countries have been proposing. And of course, we respect the Indian delegation's observations, and I can assure you on our platform there will be tremendous amount of care to the principles of the UN Charter to treat these things also. And the Agenda 2030 is a universal agenda, and of course respect for the sovereignty of all the countries. So I can assure you that to the extent the initiatives are being discussed on the platform of ESCAP, all countries' voices will be reflected in our work. You have also considered essential the application of new technologies. I'm really thankful to the Minister of ICT from Bangladesh for his strong commitment to support us in our future deliberations. I'm really thankful to a number of countries on all the work that they have put in for us to now take forward the Energy Committee and the Energy Program. Again, I think we are now being recognized within the UN system to be the lead agency for energy, although we are in the formative stages of our energy work, I believe, but we have been recognized as leading it. There, of course, not only there is transport, but we are being recognized for financing for development to be a lead agency within the regional commissions, but also at the UN platform in New York. So with the management reforms we are undertaking personally here, the Secretariat, I believe, is better equipped than ever to support you in implementing these decisions with cutting-edge research and knowledge products. Secretary General has advised us to enhance our potential as a think tank. We will be working with a number of regional institutes for which I shall be calling on your support going forward. We would like to be as transformational as the policy's transformational requirements are in the region. We will continue to improve our systems and embrace the management reforms of the Secretary General, as I said, as and when the blueprint of it unfolds. But by and large, we do know this will all be towards decentralization, simplification, streamlining rules and procedures, making the United Nations more nimble and responsive to the needs of its member states. And hopefully that will set the stage for ESCAP to also, with your support, to simplify its processes and systems. While the Secretariat will work to continually improve the support it offers, transformative action needs to be taken by countries themselves, I believe, both individually and collectively. I'm pleased to inform you that based on your continued support and guidance, ESCAP will further integrate financing for development in its work program, strengthen and effectively use the relevant committee for this purpose. Based on the past 4 consultations on this topic, I believe we have agreed on 3 areas in particular: the role of tax, public expenditure policies, private finance for infrastructure, and enhancing financial inclusion. I'll just conclude now. I think we have had a long week, and I know all of you must be exhausted, but I would be amiss if I would not thank personally our Commission Bureau, starting with you, Chair, to so gracefully and so balanced steer this whole Commission. You have eloquently articulated the plight of the Pacific Island developing states. You have helped us clap in a synchronized manner, and the frequency was definitely monitored by you. We know it is not an exaggeration to say that your countries face a real existential threat with the rising tides, the devastating storms, and surprisingly enough, the bone-dry droughts. We stand unequivocally committed to support Pacific Island countries, and you will see more missions coming to the Pacific Islands within, of course, our resource constraints and the travel budget. Thank you also to the chairs and vice chairs of the 2 committees of the whole and working group on draft resolutions for your untiring efforts to record and to get consensus. I know it's never easy at some points in these platforms. I would like to thank from the bottom of my heart the ESCAP Secretariat staff. They have worked tirelessly not only this week but for months to make this special 70th anniversary session of our Commission a success. The Secretary of the Commission, his team, the conference support staff, interpreters up there, security staff, the staff from across our divisions have demonstrated great dedication and commitment, for which I am very grateful. They have been supporting me personally over the weekends, over the late nights, till past midnight often, just to make sure we get everything right for all of you. I would also like to join others to underline our continued gratitude to our gracious host, the Royal Thai government, for their hospitality and support. The unwavering support and friendship of the Royal Thai government is why Bangkok is the regional hub of the UN ESCAP for so many years. Finally, I thank you all once again for honoring us with your presence, guiding us, steering us, and wish you all a very safe journey back home. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Executive Secretary, for that statement, very encouraging to us all. Excellencies, I'd like now to give my own concluding statement we have already concluded a week of fruitful deliberations at the 73rd Commission session in the spirit of goodwill and mutual cooperation displayed by all members and associate members of our Commission. The Commission session not only provides a platform for member countries to engage with one another, it also provides us an opportunity to engage with the Secretariat. Throughout this week, we have seen the Secretariat work in harmony to bring together the substantive and logistics aspects of this complex set of meetings. Through it all, we can see the intellectual direction and the strong leadership provided by you, Your Excellency, Madam Executive Secretary. You have already highlighted the more obvious outcomes of the Commission session, including the interactive discussion you had on Wednesday, where the importance of regional economic cooperation and integration for sustainable development was discussed. This year, we also saw high-level discussions focused on the development of least developed, landlocked developing, and Pacific Island developing countries, as well as on the Economic and Social Survey of Asia and the Pacific 2017. Of particular note was the roundtable on the theme topic for this session, Regional Cooperation for Sustainable Energy, that will inform the work of ESCAP in this important new area. In addition, a range of resolutions have also been adopted and important decisions taken at this Commission session. We hope that our active participation at the highest ministerial level, including the experiences and views we shared during the delivery of policy statements, will provide guidance to the Secretariat as it continues its efforts to sharpen its response to the diverse needs of all countries of Asia and the Pacific. As we prepare to close this session, I now wish to invite you to look back on the many activities that took place this week. I'm pleased to introduce here a short presentation of images that reflect the achievements of the week as captured by our photographers and videographers. Can I kindly ask for these videos, please?
On a dead planet, there will be no jobs. There will be no sources of livelihood. Let us move forward together.
We need to harness sustainability across the region, fostered through greater economic cooperation and integration.
For islands, the ocean is our lifeblood. It is the source of food, it is the source of our culture, and the bedrock upon which we build our economic development.
And they are very blunt in saying that there isn't sustainable development without peace, and there isn't peace without sustainable development.
7 decades, UNESCAP has helped countries in the region for economic cooperation and connectivity.
It's been instrumental in setting the priorities and setting the development agenda for countries in the Asia-Pacific region.
We believe that it will continue to play that important role in the region, especially in the area of connectivity, which it initiated, connecting the countries of the region and the region with the rest of the world.
70年来，亚太经社会在这个地区对经济社会的发展、改善民生各个方面做出了巨大的贡献，这是大家有目共睹的。
Well, thank you. With these colorful images, Excellencies, I would like to thank you, Madam Executive Secretary and your staff, for the effective servicing of this Commission session. I'd also like to recognize all those from the Secretariat who worked behind the scenes to make this session a memorable one. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank the Royal Thai government for its gracious hospitality. Excellencies, with that, I bid you all farewell and a safe journey home, and look forward to meeting you again at the 74th session of the Commission next year. You have safe trips back home. We need safe trip coming from a very far island country of Tuvalu. We will, of course, need your prayers as we travel for a long distance. I hereby declare the 73rd session of the Commission adjourned.
Okay, we're going to call the names of the students one by one to come forward to get their certificates. Okay, we have Mr. Araya Kalapuk.